All right, everybody, welcome back to part two of this box office math kind of discussion that I got started earlier. It was getting to be too long. So let's see if we can contain it enough there or make enough progress in here. There's kind of a thing I'm getting toward and want to go over. Again, it's just fun for me, in ways. But we had gotten not to this. Where were we at? It was all past that. Weren't we on Wonder Woman or something past Wonder Woman? Yeah, Wonder Woman. Well, was it that? Dude. Hmm. Yeah, I think that's where we were. Wonder Woman. All right, and we get to the Justice League part. This is where some of the math goes a little askew, and I'm not so sure about where the math was coming from when this was put together. So we're going to kind of look at that. But Justice League, or Justice League, as it is fondly called, November 17, 2017, that is. $300 million. This is the one that was totally cut up. And Zack Snyder's Justice League shows how different a movie can be with a different vision and, you know, the uh, the love for the characters. And anyway, lots of stuff happened, but again, we're looking at 300 million as their day, and then in today's dollar CPI index 375 million. That's a disputed number, by the way, too, as to how much was really spent on it, because it was so much reshot that and some of it just baffles the mind. But you have to find a video where I've talked about that already. Just what kind of differences there are between Zack Snyder's version. And let me give you an example just so you know, so you can kind of look into it yourself. There's a scene after the parademons come and take Victor's father, and he walks up basically to a window. And if you watch the trailers before the movie came out, the trailers have the shot completed. That's Zack Snyder's way of doing it, with the effects on the character Cyborg, the shot, the brick of the window, and all of that. If you look at it, it is art. It is art. Go look at it. Go check it out. And then look at Justice League. Look at that when that scene comes up. It was reshot. Cyborg was put into his hoodie and sweatpants, and the outside shot, the brick wall, is different, or it's shot from at least a different angle if it's not actually different, to where it's not art anymore. Now, it's kind of the same storyboard thing, but the effects aren't done right. The effects aren't finished out to show the body of the cyborg, and and then the shot is done in a way by a different cinematographer where it does not look nearly as good. If we had never gotten the trailer scene, okay, in the trailers, several trailers, that scene shows up. If we had never gotten that and never seen that, when we saw it in the movie, we might not have thought much about it. But then when you see the differences, it's amazing what the differences are. And the question is, Joss, why did that have to be reshot? Why did that have to be changed? Why? I have no answer for it. Why did you have to put him in his sweatpants and sweat clothes? Why? You had to reshoot the scene? Why? I Nothing else that I'm aware of changed in the scene, or that I'm sure about, or at least it would make anything of a pivotal nature to the scene. So again, why? But that's the 2017 release of the Justice League for you. And again, this is questionable. How much did it actually cost to do all the reshoots and everything? And the math for the AI says that it made some $38 million. Now, all the math I've ever seen before, and I did my own spreadsheet of it and came up with, let me see here. Let's see, Justice League is here. The fifth movie in the sequence. Needed 750 million to break even theoretically, or you could use the multiplier of budget and marketing times two, and it would be like 900 to break even. But at 750, it fell short with a 660 $1 million global. It fell short by 88 million. Now, by 88 million, then the multiplier is supposed to be um, like a 0.57 or something like that. Um, and I'm not sure I'm pulling it up right there. But the shortfall of 88.6 or 7. And no, I'm not making a joke. We'll just say 88,673,000 and 13. And then we go times 0.57 equals 50. Yeah, for some reason I'm coming up with two different numbers here. One that I'm seeing says 73, uh, 73 million dollar loss. The other way I would come up with it is saying it's a $50.54 million loss, or $50,543,617.41. Can't come that accurate. But I'm not sure why I've got that number on there right there. So we've got 6 and D and P. Oh, I see. I think I see what I did there. Okay. So, yeah, I've got two theoretical things basically. We've got the 661. Hmm. Minus 450 mil. Yeah. Because if you do the theoretical break even and a shortfall of 88 million, but then the theoretical break even point of the 450 million for the total, let's just go ahead and do that. This is, of course, 900 million minus the 661 point. What was it? 661,324. Let's make sure we're not missing anything up. 661. Let me go ahead and do 3, 2, 4. And Oops. Hmm. Oh, come on now. Why is my calculator not working? Plus. There we go. That's the 73. Yeah, I've kind of got to go through and reconfigure everything, because if you take it from the other number um, of a theoretical break-even point, etc. Anyway, it's somewhere in the 50 million. I think I've heard 40 and some. But back to the point is that you can see on the screen there where it's, I believe you're looking still at it on top, plus 38 million. It's in the negative. So I'm really curious, and I have to double check the math on all the things and see where they came up, where the AI came up from, or with the this here. Then in December of this same year, 2017, The Last Jedi, Episode 8 came out. 317 million. Apparently, it cost even more than that to make. That, or it was the last one. And nearly 400 million. And it still made quite a bit at the box office. And this is again today's numbers. And I think they consider that, though, a lesser number than this number here by a third. But again, one of those things I have to, about a third anyway, I think. But we have to look it up. We'll have to look it up. Maybe a quarter. I don't know. Quarter, so a third. Anyway, I can go back to a third. Anyway, Solo, a Star Wars story, 2018. I was looking forward to this, but was curious who in the world was playing the part, you know? But anyway, 275 million, 335 million, adjusted for the inflation, and a loss of 110 million. Again, in today's dollars, not much different from today to 2018, but there is somewhat of a difference. Then we get Jurassic World's Fallen Kingdom. It's a franchise making money, like half a billion. Bohemian Rhapsody music biopic number 3 of the most top grossing in the world, and go and look at that again a little bit. Did I look at that at the beginning of this? I'm not sure. Um, Probably did it in another video. 2018, $52 million to make, or 63 in today's money. It was in theaters for quite a while. And profit in today's money, of course, half a billion. But like I said, you can see the multiplier. 1.22 is the multiplier. So you can reduce that, if you will, to see that. Anyway, Aquaman in 2018, $200 million for it, 244, 250 today. About a half a billion dollar, though, in profit based on that number. Now again, let me just look over real quick and just flip the page and get to Aquaman. It's the next one after Justice League. And supposedly, I'm seeing, and again, I have to recalculate this, $748 million profit. But if the break-even point is, say, 400 million, and it makes 1,148,000,000, right? So you take the kind of easiest way. Again, it's supposed to be a multiplier of 0.57. And the 5.7, I think, I may have to check with the AI again, but I think the 5.7 goes with um, the theater. See, it's one of the two, theater or studio. And AI likes to be wishy-washy sometimes, and so you ask the question and then you ask it again, and it'll answer the opposite direction. So anyway, I'm multiplying the billion by the 0.57. And that equals 654,851. Let's see here. Yeah, all that box office. But yeah, 648,851,229, and you don't take away the one thing. You take away the total budget and marketing from that, and that looks to be 200 million for the budget. I don't see a reported marketing. So I think we got an estimated budget here. What happened to this thing? There we go. And we can adjust all of these different numbers at here and there. But adjusted reported budget. I'm seeing from this the reported budget being 160 million. So that's what I saw before. Theoretical marketing then is about half of that, or 80 million. From somewhere I got these numbers. And then with that total being 240 million, let me subtract 240. And you get $174 million profit. Sounds kind of reasonable. But I feel like I've misadded somewhere. But then again, I don't think that I have actually misadded somewhere. And that may be. It may be that 140. Well, coming back to it. And I said I was going to do this. Times. There you go. 1.22. Oh, 200 and something million for the profit. But again, that's where I'm looking at it. I'm looking at what it's saying here, and then try and think about it. Because again, see 200 million, and it makes a half a $1 billion off of an over $1 billion box office. Um, and Aquaman even was skewed toward the end, which I think the theater keeps more of the money toward the end and gives up more the opening weekend. So it it had a lot of legs, Aquaman, but nonetheless, money making. It was making a profit. It was doing well, and I just have to kind of perfect these calculations and numbers. Shazam then was released in 2019. $100 million, uh, about 120 million to make it in today. It wasn't very different. Um, and it should be this one here. Shazam box office was 365 million on a $100 million budget, which is kind of the way you got to go and to make some money. Theoretical break even point 212 million, so broke even and made 150 million above. So about 75 million or something to that effect profit. Uh, Now you can say, and usually I think they do use this metric or this idea that there's a break even point, and then once you make beyond the break even point, you use those dollars, whatever the dollar is, 153 million over, is therefore profit. It's not all profit to the studio. And then you use your multiplier and bring it in where it's supposed to be. Um, but some of that profit is theatrical profit. The thing about the theater, though, um, is I don't know all the rules to it. See, so it gets a take. It takes a split, right, of showing the movie. But how much of it is like really profit? Do they lose money when a when a when a screen doesn't show well? Not because of the potential loss. Like they could have shown um, Shazam, which was making money, but they showed, say, a little horror film. Sorry about that. That made a whole lot less money, like half or something like that. So, which one's better to show? It's kind of the question. It's kind of the ask at this point is where do they, how is it that theaters make money? Of course, they make money off of the concessions and all that. Um, are they being charged a fee to be able to do this thing? Which I believe is the case for some. But whatever the case may be, and I would have to probably talk to some theater people to find out that number, in that split and that idea. But it's always a benefit, to the theater to have a well-selling movie. You have a lot of bodies coming through and a lot of merchandise being sold, food, products mainly, and then other things, marketing stuff, popcorn buckets and drink cups and memorabilia and stuff like that. So yeah, that's all. That's all part of it. Anyway, I think I scrolled up because I moved down or switched it to different size. Don't worry about it though. Shazam though, again, however way you look at it, it was making money. The Lion King, the remake, made for $260 million and over 300 million to reproduce it, and made plenty of money. Apparently, according to this measure, and if I remember right, it probably made over $1 billion. Jumanji: The Next Level, uh, another sequel to Jumanji. December the 2019, $125 million, $150 million to make it today, and made some $331 million. Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, $275 million. Make it for $330 million. Again, one of these was so different from what I understood. So much more expensive. But I don't remember which one they were telling me that about. Then $316 million approximate profit. Bad Boys for Life. Not sure. Oh, I just asked for this one to be in here. 2020 release. It was from $90 million, $106 million. It made a good profit. Another $100 million or so. Sonic the Hedgehog 2020 release, $85 million, or about $100 million if we were to make it now. Made $88 million. Birds of Prey in 2020 made $84 million. Made $84 million. About $100 million profit, or $100 million, sorry, to redo it, 99.4. But $22 million was the profit, or there was a bit of a loss. I'm pretty sure there was a little bit of a profit. I think I've always had it calculated at well under $1 million. Because it made $205 million in the box office. So you get 84 million, or 85 million rather. Budget, I have here 82, about half of that being used in marketing. So the theoretical 82 and 41 is 123 million. Break even point really is twice that, which makes it about 250 million, and that would be a little bit of a loss. If the marketing was a little bit less, I've got the break even point marked at 205 million. So you take the budget and do your 2.5 times it, should be that 205, right? 82 million by 2.5 is at 205 million. So I still like to go back to that rather than doing the add up and double it up. It's just my way of looking at it. But at that amount, it exceeded its break-even point by $358,000 for the worldwide total. So, I think if you mark that up for today, it's still going to be under. Still going to be under this amount that it's showing. 22.05 million. That just doesn't seem right. So yeah, I've got to go back and check these numbers out. Wonder Woman 84 supposed to have lost 135 million according to this. Made for 200 million, somewhere closer to 240 today. And it's a 1.18 multiplier. Then, same time, or shortly thereafter, rather, Godzilla vs. Kong came out. Been made for 160 million, about 180, and maybe made this 84 million for the box at the box office. Mortal Kombat came out right afterwards made for 55 million. Made would have been made a little bit more today, but lost 14 million or so in the box office. Black Widow came out same year in July. $200 million budget, about 226.6 million now. and supposedly, according to this, lost money. Um, but if my memory serves, uh, and I think I have the box office monies on here a little bit later, um, it would have made money for that. So, but we'll double check it out. Now, the Suicide Squad, again, name of the movie, from James Gunn, 185 million would be almost 210 million today. Lost 113, or me doing my other math here. I always want to do the math. Before Flash and Blue Beetle and all that came out, this was the biggest losing um, movie after Wonder Woman, and in some calculations, um, Wonder Woman would have made more. Just depends how you calculate it. But at the same time, Wonder Woman had the success of the first to rely on as far as budget. You can get a percentage of that budget or that increase to go toward another movie. Obviously, I say obviously meaning you're aware that is what happens. But anyway, I've calculated it before as losing essentially uh, all of it. But if you just add up the numbers they claim, I think it was 277 million, 277.5 million. And if you uh, subtract from that half of uh, the subtract half of the box office from that. See, that's supposed to be the total investment, and half of the box office about 80 or something, um, 85 million, maybe 88 million, um, 86. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe another number. Maybe it's 90. But anyway, whatever it is, you subtract it from that 277 plus million-dollar budget, and you come up with somewhere in the neighborhood of losing $180 million. It basically the budget for the marketing was covered in just a little bit of the production budget for the first for certain full on. I call it DC movie, DCU movie, the James Gunn universe. Uh, that's where it begins. And then it continues into Shazam, Fury of the Gods, The Flash. There's a little bit of it in Black Adam, makes you wonder, but mostly there's Shazam, especially in credit scene. Flash, what has changed because of James Gunn's decisions and all that, and this is the beginning of losses, major losses. Say Wonder Woman's a major loss. Yeah, in a sense, it is. Again, this 113 million loss is probably closer to 180 million. Uh, and then you had Matrix Resurrections. Sorry, in 2021, made for 190 million or about 215 in today's dollars. Lost the studio 124 million because they did a lot of alterations of it. To show you though, in December of 2021, that they were people going to the theater. We had Spider-Man: No Way Home come out, made for 200 million, about 225 today's dollars, and was a nearly $2 billion film. Saying here that it made 859.84 million. Jurassic World Dominion in 2022, shortly after this, about 6 months later, made for 185 million or 205 today, and made the studio some $350 million. Black Adam, released in October 2022, made for 200 million. 221 million is the today's budget, and lost about $3.63 million. Now, when I go to my calculations to try to look at it, it depends really on the budget. But what I get from this is about a $75 million loss. So that 3 million is a little different. We'll see um, one day when we clean all this up and calculate it out better. But the worldwide box office was $393 million, and supposed to be for a budget of 200 million plus maybe 100 million marketing. Hmm. Yeah, I'm just not sure of the disparity of these things. Anyway, Avatar: Way of Water. This may be showing at least the plus and minus of it for 350 million. The second movie in the franchise. Uh, and it still made some money, but nothing like previously. And that's the part we'll get into in the other. I'll kind of save all that. Shazam: Fury of the Gods, made for 125 or 135 million today. Lost Studio 62 million, or we can get some other number in there. Oppenheimer, historical biopic. It's now number 2 worldwide. Um, meaning global total. It's just below Michael. Michael's still going on, and they're, as I probably said in another video, it's expected to cross $1 billion, and also expected to make in the international markets if it maintains kind of what it's doing and um, what its projection is, with a few more openings, or not all more openings, I'm sorry, but just the legs of a few more things. It's expected to make the highest international total, to exceed, you know, Bohemian Rhapsody, and it's already gone past Oppenheimer's domestic and uh, international numbers. So, and it's surpassed Bohemian Rhapsody's international, not international numbers, global box office and domestic box office, United States and Canada. But anyway, um, again, Oppenheimer's in there for a while. Made for 100 million. There's a lot of cost savings in the making of Oppenheimer, and so made about 400 million or so. Then you got Guardians of the Galaxy 3 in 2023. Made for 250 million, about 270 million today. See the inflation in the last just couple of years, and it made about 180 million or so. The Flash, then, in June of 2023, not long after, a little bit less cost to the production budget, but they say that's in dispute. There's a different number that's available. I wanted to look at that too. Uh, the Flash ultimately made 271 million in the box office. Now, if the reported budget 200 million or 220 million, marketing 100 million, um, or some say 300 million. It's like it lost 228 million. But again, if I'm looking at that, and seeing my numbers for what they are, right? I come up with a loss of about 145 million, something closer to that. Uh, Now, according to this number, with the 220 million, it's saying it lost 91 million. That's not quite the dire story that's being told if it's just 91 million. I need to check. I gotta check with AI and just dispute some of these numbers. I'll be calculating and recalculating it all. That's what I do. Uh, then Blue Beetle supposedly made for 104 million or 112 million today, and lost the studio some. It says here 41 million. I've got it closer to 105 or um, even 169 if we're counting. But I think I would call that just a shortfall. And then the final movie in the DCEU. Um, Let me get back to that page. Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom in 2023 December made for 205 million. And this says here made a profit of 16.3 million. So again, it's made 440 million 181,000, etc. Its reported budget was 205 million. I think 205 million. Oh yeah, that's what it's showing there. 221 million. If it was 205 million, sorry. Uh, if marketing budget was half of that, then we're coming up toward 307.5 million. Break even point. That's the budget and the marketing. Break even point, if you double that, is, and I haven't really checked on the marketing for the Lost Kingdom, rather. But if you double that, it's $607 million. If you say theoretical break-even point is 512 million, then we fell short about 72 million. It looks like, and 72 million is only a loss of, it says here in my calculations, about 56.6 million loss. So uh, it's still a question. How do you want to figure it out? Gotta get this back where it belongs. All right, but is it possible it made money? I don't really think so. 440 million, 300. If it did, it's 440 million. Let's see here in the for the total. So it's 205 times 2.5 equals minus. It's still looking like about 40.8 million lost if I do my calculations another way. Then we got Mufasa. We got the Lion King Mufasa prequel, 2024, 200 million, 100 or 81.848 million was the supposed profit here. And there was a Superman movie that they said cost 250 million, 255 in today's dollars, and they say this is saying it made 60 million. So we know that the calculations are off. Because the Superman movie was made for a certain amount. I actually have this all on another sheet of my divisions and stuff, and a lot of calculations for different um, comparisons of the domestic and the and for Man of Steel and Superman. I did all that in another video and showed you some estimated losses, some ideas of losses, and probably would have to tweak those with the concept, the idea that is that uh, the studio doesn't lose the entire shortfall that there is from a break even point. And it all depends on where the break even point is for that. There's Michael. Now, in this case, these dollars are still going up. Supposedly 155 million to make. Would be a little bit more today. However, that stuff's already done, so they're waiting to release it another way. Now, this looks like just the budgets. If you're paying attention to what I'm doing right now on screen, this is just showing some adjusted budgets. So I have a few more charts like in this particular piece of paperwork. However, we don't need to keep going in that configuration. Alright, now we're looking at well, more or less, I'm looking at this other thing. Jump over here. And we will look at Excel. Say okay. Alright, we're gonna go to a different one. It's one with some raw data on it. I think this is where I'm gonna have to go in and do some of that verifying as well. Because this does have comparison DC and Marvel, but I've got to come up with some clear numbers on that before we go into those. But this is what I was getting to, and we got a little bit of time where we can just kind of run through a couple of different examples of it. This is not going to tell you everything because it doesn't have the budgets in there anymore. What the budget would have been and stuff like that. I think that we can agree with some stuff. But as I said toward the beginning of the last video, when we were going through this, people point to the Gone with the Wind and say that was the biggest grossing when you adjust for inflation and all that. Well, but again, inflation is one thing, and movie ticket inflation is a completely different thing. So the average ticket price for the movies when Gone with the Wind came out in 1939 was 23 cents. 23 cents. You know, put your quarter up there, you go to the movie. You put a dime up there, you go to whatever the thing was. The average ticket was so much less. Then it had a worldwide gross, according to this idea, of $189 million on 23 cents. Tickets sold at that price would be 824 million tickets sold. Then today's average ticket, or average blended ticket sale, is $16.08. That's the theory today. So the calculations in this come from what's the ticket price, what's the worldwide gross at the time. That's how many tickets are sold. That's the easy way to calculate it. Problem with Gone with the Wind, though, is just what you see right there, is the original concept would put today's 800 million people went to see this, 824 million. That's $13 billion that it made. $13.25 billion. Or if you want to get really specific, 13,250,131,902 at 23 cents per ticket. And it went through 1943 apparently. However, they have a, a, a calculation that this is the number of tickets sold. Okay? They still say that the worldwide gross was that. All right? But the number of tickets sold is what they've calculated as this number. And therefore, the average ticket, because there were different ways of seeing it, there were special screenings and like traveling something or another's, that the average ticket was closer to $1.94. And there was 202 million people, 202 million tickets sold. And then that comes up to 3.2 billion. When I calculate it by the $16.80 ticket today, assuming this was made today and came out today and would have the same interest, would bring that ticket, that number of people in, that's what we get. $3.248 billion, or 2 billion. Sorry, 3,248,877,168. I don't intend to just read out all these large numbers. They're sitting right there on your screen so you can see it. Now, they had decades of returns, re-releases, lots of different re-releases. Average ticket over the course of those re-releases, $3.50, sorry, and about 60 million, 60.816 point, other 0.9, 60,816,903 tickets sold there. So you got 260 million, tickets sold. 363 almost. Almost. And we can kind of look at that number, 363 million, as a kind of a good indicator. But these are doubling up too. I mean, some of these people that saw it here came and saw it in the reruns, the releases and things like that. And again, different kind of theater experience. We even have a different experience now from when Oppenheimer came out, because Oppenheimer was in the theater for 35 weeks. And it was in the theater exclusively before it was allowed to go to digital for 174 days or something to that effect. It was there for quite a while. 35 weeks is some 250 days. It's most of a year. Short by about 3 months. And it came back into the theater also. So there it is again. But anyway, going to The Sound of Music, $1.20 per ticket in the 60s era, grossing $163 million, 136 million tickets sold. In today's $16 a ticket, $16.08 times this number should give you this 2,187,071,432 number. Then we jump to the Batman movie in 1962. $1.22 a ticket. 1966, I mean. Which was right in the middle of there, so it was still Sound of Music playing next door, and Batman the movie came out. Had 2.7 some million tickets sold, made 3 million in the day. Today it's $16 a ticket if you could get it all. If you can get all 3 million almost people there, $43 million, and that's good. That's some money. That's compared to a number of other movies. That's doing pretty good. And right now, my brain is just pushing against knowing what movies we're talking about. I think that might be where Supergirl is at the moment, or a little bit less than that. And that's the campy Batman, soon to be on TV. The Sound of Music re-releases, since it was done over a period of time past '66 and all that. $4.50 a ticket. 27 million more tickets sold. 123 million, or almost a half a billion. $439.5 million. Jaws initial run. You got re-releases through the years, 3D and all that. $2.03 in the original. 231 million tickets sold. Not far under this 262, right? That's pretty close. 231 million tickets sold. It's a $470 million blockbuster in the time. 0.65. $470.65 million, or 653. Would be a $3.7 billion movie in today's run. Money, run. Now, if you add up all of Gone with the Wind, then you get, $4.1 billion. I got no problem with that. This number right here is really going to tell us which movie is on top as far as dollars to inflation. Because it kind of doesn't matter at this point what this price was at the time. So we're not looking to multiply to get inflation. We're just taking our tickets sold, selling them today, and saying, there's our number. I know it's not a perfect science. There's all kinds of factors that we're not calculating and trying to put in here and say, this is our limiting anything. Okay? But this is a good telling. So, here's where the rubber meets the road for everybody, okay? Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, 1977, $2.23 a ticket. Over 600 million, in the box office in the time. 275 million. 647,716 tickets sold. Re-releases over the years, 26 million more. That's more than 300 million tickets sold. Yes, repeat viewers and all that, I know. And over time here, $775 million or so. But, get to the number here. Sold today, all told, $4.8263 billion. 4.8 or 4.4 in its initial run. To me, that puts it on top of Gone with the Wind. This is not because of the ticket price theory. This is what they say the audience number was. Were there more people in the United States, in 77 than there were in 39? I don't doubt it. I believe there was an increase of people. That's still, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. And as I understand it, this is, I'll have to double check. This is probably looking at worldwide totals and things like that. I'm pretty sure it is. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, again, $2.23 a ticket. 136.233 million tickets sold gives us today's $2.19 billion movie. All right, Close Encounters, they're kind of reruns, redos, another $108 million. $5.50 average ticket over the years. Excuse me, sorry. Then we have Superman the movie, $2.34 original ticket. I just like to see that. Wow, that's amazing. And these are calculated amounts of people. So uh, I'm trusting the first one with Gone with the Wind. These I trust are accurate. If the ticket price average is accurate, this is the budget, not the budget, the reported um, box office. So then you get the number of people based on that. Um, just divide this into this. This is the number you get. But it made over 2 billion if you count it from today. Empire Strikes Back in 1980. Um, $400 million profits at the time, 148,000. That's quite a significant decrease from this. However, these are return views for certain. The theater kept the movie. There wasn't release onto digital. There wasn't release into DVDs. There weren't Blu-rays. The home video release market, it wasn't that. You went to the theater, and they kept it in the theaters for a long period of time. And you could probably look back and see. I know that I'm sure that they've got it all written out as a history somewhere. How long they had that in the theater. But The Empire Strikes Back is over a $2 billion movie. It's not quite the $4 billion juggernaut at 4.4, but uh, and if you add in this one, of course, that's 2.7 billion something. And then going on, Superman 2 in 81, uh, bigger budget. This is not even figuring in budgets though. But 70 million tickets sold. So we lost a lot of the audience there for whatever reason. And $1.1 billion for that total there. ET 239 239.729 million. Again, it's a little less than the 275 million, but 239 million. And over the course of remakes, not remakes. There's adjustments made, uh, some special effects changes and stuff like that that does exist uh, in a special edition, I guess. 10 million more people going to see it in theaters. Otherwise, I remember seeing it in theater again. At least I saw it was there. If I didn't go and watch it, I think I watched it though. But yeah, 200. There's about 250 million tickets, still less, but 3.8 billion dollars. Now, is that not more than it's more than the Jaws, and it's more than Gone with the Wind. So Jaws has exceeded uh, Gone with the Wind. The initial Gone with the Wind, 3.3 million. Yep, still exceeded. No, 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 no. I miscalculate. Another be 4.1 billion if you include the re-releases. So 3.7 does not exceed the 4 points. Um, we only have the New Hope to be above there. But E.T. more than Gone with the Wind. For those arguing Gone with the Wind again, now if you want to come back and tell me something, explain why, uh, you can. I understand the multipliers, for other things, dollar for dollar, what what that profit was in today's dollars. I get that. I understand that. Uh, I, I I still don't think it's going to put it above this number actually, but this is the actual number. That's kind of the point, is that this is the number. Um, the factor, the CPI factor, is 22.92, I think it is. I'm going to give you that. So we multiply 23 cents, which was the ticket price at the time, by 22.92. I forget what it is exactly right in a second. But that goes to a $5.27 per ticket. Okay? Uh, that is not going to get you to our $16.08 ticket today. Okay? That's a third of it, basically. Um, so $16.08 is our target ticket price. Superman 3 came out only in today's dollars less than half a billion. The Return of the Jedi, sorry, Empire Episode 6 of Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, in '83, and then it's reruns, if you will. 122,000 audience. Now this gets into the time frame, and even I think Empire Strikes Back was into the time frame where there were out there videos and video stores and stuff like that to rent. So they did, once the theatrical run was over, they didn't have to keep bringing it back so you could see it for the next couple of years. They went ahead and had it on video, and they started making their money otherwise, and through merchandising and stuff like that. Still, almost 2 billion is 2 billion with the re-releases and special editions. Supergirl in 1984. 4,254,000. Today's $16 ticket is 68 million. Sounds like more than the opening weekend for the today's Supergirl. That was the entire run there back in the day, and that was them pulling it fast and saying we just can't do it. We just can't do it. Superman 4 Quest for Peace, 1987. 7.744 million million tickets sold, rather. $124.53 million. Then we got Batman, 1989. Tickets sold 103,000. That's a very respectable number there. 103,000 is definitely a lot, because it's a one in today's numbers. If you sell 103,000 tickets, you get a $1.667 billion movie. Batman Returns, 64 million, lost a lot for various reasons. There are reasons for this. Still over $1 billion. So even 64 million tickets sold, or around that, is going to get you over $1 billion today. Jurassic Park gets 220 million tickets. $3.5 billion movie in today's numbers. Wouldn't you just love to see if these things came out today? We know what it does today because it's re-releasing, but if it was never seen and it came out today, what would it be? Would it be this? It's a good question. It's a good question to sit there and debate within yourself. I like to think of it as just putting ourselves into the shoes of them. We have the money that we have. Everybody had the money that they had at the time. So it works the same way, except for it's maybe considered more of a luxury to go to the theater today. However, it's not a detriment, because people continually go to the premium screens, the 4DX especially, in the theater that I attend frequently. They like that one more than they like the RPX, the giant screen. but they'll go to the giant screen or an IMAX. Uh, they like to go to the 40X. There's a limited number of seats in the 40X because just the space that it takes to do things, and but the experience is such that most well, I shouldn't say most of the people, but generally close to half of the going audience for the day is going to that version, the 40X version, uh, as much as they can. They'll sell out that theater a lot faster, somewhat because there's fewer seats, but somewhat just simply because it's more of an experience. People would rather watch the movie for the experience. So it's the experience of the theater. You see, so there's things about it. But anyway, going back to this, the Lion King in its run, 182 million tickets, 182.6. So almost a $3 billion movie is with the re-releases. Batman Forever with Val Kilmer had is this a bump? Yeah, it is a little bit more. 77.371 million tickets sold. $1.244 billion. Batman and Robin in 97, 2 years later. 51.89 million tickets sold. Forgive me, it is getting a little bit late today for me, but 800 million is not too bad, somewhat close to a billion. But we are looking for that closer to the magic number. I guess it's about 63 million tickets sold, or 60, just a little bit, maybe 64. Uh, Gets you into that $1 billion club. Anyway, we got The Lion King, we have Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, 134.780 million tickets. That's quite a bit less than the first. I think that was much because of a drop off, because people were very excited to see it, and they saw it, and a variety of criticisms. There wasn't all of the characters from the first movie and stuff. It was a different island and so forth. But that 3.5 billion, not quite getting there this time, but a 2.167 billion uh, price tag. Titanic in 1997 was a $4.59 ticket, made $1.8 billion, 401,568,903 tickets. Re-releases another 44 million. It's a $6.457 billion movie. 6.4 billion. That is more than Gone with the Wind. Gone with the Wind, and its two portions here, is 4.2. We'll give you $4.2 billion. Okay, so Titanic has shattered the record by another $2 billion. And if we gave it its other 700 million, then we're looking at 7.2, approximately, almost 7.1 something $billion. All right, so this is the record holder at this point, Titanic. This is not all my point, but this is just part of it. Re-releases, we got The Phantom Menace then, came out, 202 million viewers. Half of this, though, but 3,251,000,000 dollar movie in today's dollars again. Today's ticket sale dollars. Just remember that's what I'm talking about. Jurassic Park 3, In 2001, 65 million tickets sold plus a little bit over $1 billion. So we're looking at 64, $65 billion, or 65 million tickets is $1 billion movie. Episode 2, The Attack of the Clones, 111 million. Almost half the audience is gone from that. Almost $0.8 billion though. Batman Begins in 2005, almost 60 million. We got a little bit less than $1 billion in today's ticket sales, but 58,293,595 tickets sold. Then there's Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3. Gained a few audience members. It's a little bit better. There's also re-releases and stuff like that that happen later on. It might or might not show up. There's a recent anniversary of this 25-year anniversary. Is that what it is? 20-year anniversary for Revenge of the Sith. Now, I don't know if it's going to be on here or not, but if it is, great. But that was, again, in today's dollars, $2.129 billion movie. And The Dark Knight, July of 2008. Now, none of this represents whether the movie is necessarily good. It represents some popularity to it. 140.456 million, almost 7. $2.258 billion movie. 2,258,546,000, etc. Avatar then comes out. 389,827,470 tickets sold. And it's had re-releases too, or it came back and released again. This may include all of that initial going out and coming in. If it came out and came in again a few months later, I vaguely recall that may be the case. But $6.268 billion, $6,268,425,718 in today's dollars. It was $7.50 at the time. So Titanic and Avatar. Avatar, if I remember right, Titanic had a big opening weekend. Avatar had a very much lower opening weekend, and had legs and word of mouth saying you got to watch this kind of movie, and you need to watch it in 3D. I vaguely recall that too. The King's Speech biopic is thrown in here. 54 million, tickets sold. $870 million in today's money. The Dark Knight Rises, though, 2012. 135,825,000 tickets sold. Almost 2 billion, $2.184 billion movie in today. Next year, Man of Steel comes out. 82,428,723 tickets sold. Let's see. The Dark Knight had 140 million tickets sold. Dark Knight Rises 135, a little bit less because people were dogging it more. Just double checking the math there because I saw Revenge of the Sith instead. But all right, Man of Steel though, and we're not comparing Man of Steel. I'm not trying to the Nolan, but if you look at the number, 270 million or 670 million box office at the time, $8.13 a ticket. The preview nights were $10 a ticket. All you had was just a ticket to the regular type screening, We didn't have everything we got now. We had some 3D, and there were some IMAX screens, and then there was just a regular ticket. And it was $10 for the previews, and the previews were one night only, a couple of screens per whatever theater, and that made more money than the James Gunn Superman did in its 2 days of previews, with all the time spent on the second day. There was a fan event, which was a couple of different screenings on the night of the fan event, like the fan event for Man of Steel. Fan event for Man of Steel again made more money than the 2 days for James Gunn's. Uh, that's just a fact. At least adjusted for inflation. It's been a while since I calculated those numbers, but you can find that number on Box Office Mojo. Uh, and again, if the night itself was less than the 22.5 million, I think it is, that James Gunn's does when you adjust for inflation, that goes to that. Not even ticket sale inflation, just regular inflation. But for tickets sold, 82,428,723 tickets sold, 1.325 billion if it opened today, assuming it had never opened before and it was releasing like fresh. That's the money it would make. You know, when you have it all at home, people aren't necessarily going to go to the theater to go see it. I understand all those factors. Nevertheless, Wolf of Wall Street's just thrown in here as part of this. I would, if I clean this up, I'll clean it up. But Guardians of the Galaxy came out in 2014, coming off of other successes in the Marvel Universe, has a built-in audience, 105,722,895 tickets sold, a $1.7 billion movie in today's numbers. American Sniper, a 66,990, almost a $67 million or million tickets sold, 1,700,000,000, and 77,000,000, 254,000 movie anyway, and half a billion at the time, and a low budget. Bradley Cooper playing the Chris Kyle part. Again, I go back to that number is about 65, a little bit under 65 million tickets sold. This one here was 64. It's a little bit above, so it's around 64 million tickets, and there's the $1 billion movie. That's kind of what you're looking at today. If somebody says, "Oh, Mario Brothers broke $1 billion," they probably had about 60. I want to say it's in this area, 65 or 60, maybe 60. This is almost 67 million tickets sold. But so 65 million tickets is around what Super Mario Galaxy made. Super Mario World probably more. Pretty sure more. Jurassic World, 198 million. So they were looking forward to this movie coming out. It regained audience. It gained audience, and that's a good number. $3.188 billion in today's ticket sales. The Force Awakens, 245 million tickets sold. 245,340,881. Then there's a Batman v Superman. From that 82 million, we increase to over 100 million viewers. 101,082,103 tickets sold. $874 billion at the time. If you just adjust that for CPI inflation, it's over $1 billion movie. And Man of Steel would be close, if not over $1 billion, just for, again, CPI index, whatever it was and whatever it is for 2013 and then 2016. And you should be able to see that on the other chart as we were going by. You can put that in there and calculate it. This number that I said. But today it's more because it's nearly a double the price on the ticket. So 1.625 billion, 400 million dollar movie or ticket sales. Today's prices. August 2016, 86 million 612,723 for this David Ayer film. Over $1 billion in today's ticket sales. 1.392,732,000. Sorry. Yeah, 732,586. Then Rogue One in 2016 was 122,000 plus tickets sold, almost $2 billion, $1.963 billion. Then you had Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 in May of 2017, 96,293,000 tickets sold, or $1.548 billion in today's figures. But that is a loss of nearly 10 million, some 9 million tickets sold. Wonder Woman in 2018 or 2017 rather, 91,746,000 tickets sold. $1.475 billion movie. Justice League, the abomination of 2017, 73,726,531 tickets sold. $1.185 billion. Just looking at the tickets sold, though. The Last Jedi in 2017, 148,555,000. That's more than Rogue One, but it's quite a bit less than The Force Awakens by nearly 100 million. Big loss. I'm serious. It's a big loss. Anyway, The Last Jedi, 3.388, $2.388 billion movie in today's money. Solo, a Star Wars movie, 2018, 41,105,000 tickets sold. $660 million movie in today's money. 41 million tickets sold. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom in 2018, 145. Still almost the same as The Last Jedi, 2.33 million. Bohemian Rhapsody looks like over 100 million tickets sold. $1.6 billion movie. Now that's where Michael may not be close to this number of 100 million tickets sold. And we'll have to look and see where it's at some point. Yeah, where I would be looking, it's not going to show me yet. But it's not quite at $1 billion. So let's see here. If we just say 1 billion and divide that by 16.08, you have to have 62,189,054.55 tickets sold to get to a $1 billion mark. So, like I said, it's not quite there yet. It also has been in theaters longer. It is already on streaming and for sale on streaming, VOD. So it's already making that money as well, and it's been number one uh, for a couple of weeks, I think. So, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Aquaman. Then we have 2018 release, 127 million uh, watchers. It's a $2 billion movie in today's dollars. 127.577 million tickets sold. Uh, Shazam, 2019, 40 million tickets sold. That's a $645 million uh, movie, and it was a small budget. I forget what the budget was. I wanna say the budget was actually somewhere around the $80 million or something like that, but I can't remember at the moment. It's slipping my mind. But anyway, the Lion King remake in 2019 was 181,577 tickets sold, nearly a $3 billion movie in today's dollars. Jumanji: The Next Level, 2019, 87,330,493 tickets sold, to $1.4 billion for the movie. The Rise of Skywalker in 2019, 117,322,698 tickets sold, which is a drop, right? Yeah, it's nearly 30 million tickets less. $1.886 billion for that movie, though, in that case. Bad Boys for Life, 46,460,000 tickets sold. It's a $747 million movie. I want to say that the other Bad Boys did actually better than this. Most of them did. There's a I feel like there's another. There's either one right after this or one before it. I just can't remember. Uh, I think there's one after this. Bad Ride or Die. Ride or Die, I think, is after that. Then Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't think I have it on this list though. Sonic the Hedgehog in 2020. We had 34,827,416 tickets sold. It's a $560 million movie. Of course, we're getting closer and closer to that $16 price tag. Um, Birds of Prey, about 22 million. This audience is dwindling dependent upon the movie. There's a lot of problems with Birds of Prey. There's issues about what it is, the R-rated nature of it, and the things that were included uh, that are supposed to fit but don't really fit uh, in today. Anyway, it's harder to explain than what I'm trying to do right here. What I'm trying to do is just go through a few numbers, basically. Wonder Woman, 18 million tickets, 18,475,000 tickets, 300 million almost in the box office today, and going on. Godzilla versus Kong. This, of course, was released during the the larger part of the shutdown during for the COVID fiasco that happened in this country, and so this reflects on that. It's also a movie that was much hated, which the things people are accusing uh, the critics of today about Supergirl were actually more true about this in the Wonder Woman 84. That there, that they, it's I said more true, not necessarily completely true. Anyway, we'll move on. Godzilla vs Kong had a day and date release. and had 46,225,771 tickets sold in the theater. $743 million movie in today's ticket sales. Mortal Kombat in 2021 had 8,301,475 tickets sold. If they had made the movie for 55 million today, and it came to this 133, you'd almost be at the break-even point, right? So it would still lost money at that point. Or if you could really control yourself and keep the money down, you might be able to make a slight profit off that. Black Widow came out same time. Day and date releases on Wonder Woman, Godzilla, Mortal Kombat, and this James Gunn movie down here in after this Black Widow. And Matrix Resurrections also day and date releases in the Max HBO Max program or TV streaming service, whatever you want to call it. And like I said, um, and Black Widow had a similar, slightly later release than uh, than this day and date, but in the theater, 37,340,000 tickets sold, and a little bit, there. Over 600 million in today's numbers, 600 point, almost 5 million in today's numbers. 600.5, I said. And then this James Gunn movie that people make all kinds of excuses for, day and date release and all that. 16,589,717. They say, oh, the Delta virus, the Delta variation came out, so there was this surge of people not going anywhere. It's not really true. People were laughing at the Delta variant. They were laughing extremely because the actual story was the Delta variant came out, and it was more infectious but far less problematic. Like the body was able to fight it off very easily. It was reverting to its basic cold-like status because that's what COVID was. The COVID virus has been around forever. It's a cold-inducing virus. It was modified and adjusted, changed to make it worse. It was released, and I'm not speaking theoretically. I'm just saying whatever way it was released. I'm not conspiracizing it. It released into the world, and was worse, more infectious and worse than the original virus. It mutated back into when the Delta one came out, and people that actually listened to stuff. They said, "Oh, it's weak. It's a cold virus again." And so it was basically what happened there. But anyway, the Suicide Squad um, in 2021 from James Gunn, changing everything and altering the characters that he kept. That's the first DCU movie right there. Uh, I can't say that anything else makes sense than to just give this to James Gunn. He can have his Peacemaker, both seasons. He can have all the rest of that stuff. All right, but anyway, 16.6 million tickets sold, approximately $266 million in the theater. And if we look at adjusting the uh, in for inflation, the budget and the marketing, then this is a tremendous loss. Tremendous loss. Um, but we'll talk about that more some other time. Then the Matrix Resurrections in 2021 also 16 million, less than, very disappointing number here. 253 million is the theorized today's dollars uh, for for those tickets sold. Spider-Man No Way Home. What do we got here? Where did we get it? 188 million tickets sold. So we're not coming close anymore to that number. And again, Titanic, I believe, is holding the record. It is the highest as far as ticket sales are concerned. 401.5 million tickets sold. It is by far the highest grossing movie by tickets sold, wherever you want to calculate in the gross for that amount there. All right. Now, did it cost more to make it than others may have? That could be so. But we're moving on. We see No Way Home, 188 million. This is very respectable though. 972,000 tickets sold, 3.038 or 3867, or 3,038,672,719 dollars. Jurassic World Dominion in 2022, 95 million tickets sold. $1.5 billion movie in those figures. Black Adam 2022, 37 million tickets sold. Look at this. James Gunn's movie, 16.5, 16.6. Black Adam had the sales of 37 million. That's more than this number here. That's more than by double. Okay, more than by double what James Gunn's movie was seen. That wasn't backed up by a series of Marvel movies. Anyway, $600 million in today's dollars. Avatar: The Way of Water, 200. I'm sorry, 2022, 220,598,483 tickets sold, $3.547 billion. That's not Avatar though. Avatar, getting back here. Um, 2000, 2003, 2009. Keep forgetting. Close to that 400 million number. 389,827,470 tickets sold at $6.28 billion. 268 billion dollars. As far as, so that's going to be right there behind again, Titanic. If I were to reorganize everything by this O, that's what it'll show me basically. And we might look at that. We might just throw it up there. But in this case, let's just keep looking. That's The Way of Water. Not the, not The Way of Water. That was Titanic and Avatar. The Way of Water. Yeah, The Way of Water, the most recent thing I was looking at. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. 12 million viewers. Or 12 million tickets. $196 million movie. It's a sad, unfortunate flop of a movie. 134 million in the day. $11 a ticket. So like I said, we're getting close. Historic biopic of Oppenheimer. 88 million tickets sold. And like I said, I think Michael has a bit less, but we'll see where it gets to. It's a $1.4 billion movie in today's dollars. So if those people that are hoping for Michael to be truly the highest of all time need to have an excess of 100, let's just say 100,000 tickets sold, and something over $1.609 million in billion dollars in the box office. 1.609. No, to be fair, that's just what you would need to get that done. So yeah, right. When I pulled this up, um, pulled these numbers up, Michael had a less than 40 million tickets sold when I pulled this number out. But I'm pretty sure it's a little more than that now, and still working its way toward the top. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is 76,868,000 tickets sold. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, yeah, 1 was 105 million. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, why am I skipping it? There are people that, if you're watching, you're seeing and you're saying, that was it right there. 96 million. And now we're down to 76 million. Another 200, or sorry, 20 million drop off. A $1.2 billion film in today's dollars is 845 back in the day, though. The Flash in 2023 at 24,675,000 tickets sold, 396 million, 786. So, and then Blue Beetle, a little bit under 12 million tickets sold, 191 million or 131 at the time, box office. Then Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom, 40 million tickets sold, a $643 million movie today in today's tickets. Then you got Mufasa in 2024, a little more, 48,916,000 tickets sold, $786 million. And there was James Gunn's Superman, or Superman's James Gunn. Tickets sold 53,111. That's $618 million in today's ticket sales. Compare that back to Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, other movies. Mandalorian Grogu was also it's still in theaters and still gaining some things, so this number is not completely accurate, but it does show that there's a little bit of a bump. Well, no, there should not be any kind of bump here. This is somehow miscalculated from each other. 330 and 409. So there's a different factor calculating into that. But that's all right. And then I get sources for different things, box office trackers, the numbers, and the Internet Movie Database uses it sometimes, Box Office Mojo, National Association of Theater Owners, Motion Picture Association, the Quigley Publishing Company Motion Picture Almanac. Then you have the trade news for some of these figures and ideas of sales and stuff like that, Variety and all that. IndieWire, Screen Daily, Screen International, CNBC, Bloomberg Media. Trying to come up with some other numbers for different things in those cases, but neither here nor there on that. But it just kind of shows you where we're at. And if I were to go right now over, and this will be the last thing I do for this video here, and jump on Box Office Mojo or the numbers. There we go. Box Office Mojo. And get a total. Um, looking like Supergirl has less than 5 million tickets sold so far, but not counting today or yesterday. And it took a pretty big hit on Wednesday as well. Like I said, I'm not going to look at it any further than that, though. Um, what is the lesson to be learned? I don't know. I don't really have a lesson for you today. I've already made my comparisons. I grant that Titanic and then Avatar are the highest attracting movies, I guess we could call it, the biggest ticket number of tickets sold, according to what we can calculate, at least from the tickets sold at the time and the average ticket price. If somebody out there knows of a ticket tracking system that's more accurate and can tell me, no, these are where you get ticket sales from, I'd be glad to look at it. If somehow the almanacs that are out there say, yes, Avatar sold so many tickets over its lifetime, uh, and then show to me that there were more tickets sold somewhere else, I'd be glad to look into that and say, okay, I can see it. I'll make modifications. Because that's really what this is about. It's just having fun looking at things, calculating things out, and seeing what's what, and also taking people to task for claiming something that's not true. Something like Man of Steel was very lackluster. That the next movie was down below it. No, no, no. It increased its office, or its audience, and it increased its audience again, or it brought more to a movie that was outside of the regular scope of movies, if you will. It's, in other words, there's the big movies, the big characters and all that, and then there's your side characters. Ant-Man, for example, made a lot less money because people were like, "What's Ant-Man? This is kind of silly," and it's still a really good movie, but it made less money even though it followed after, a bigger blockbuster movie with more of the big characters and stuff. And they've ever since tried to push it bigger. Ant-Man gets bigger and bigger every time, but uh, it doesn't necessarily work out that way as far as popularity. But you just have to do what you can do. But I enjoy those things. It's something that I would look at the details of, and for some reason those numbers weren't on my chart, and I have to get to my other chart, which is DC movies with Marvel movies, and comparing them and going through the entire history, in fact. But that'll just be interesting one day to look at, and if you'll join me for that, that's great. If you won't, that's okay. But I hope that you enjoyed this today. Like I said, it's mostly just me enjoying some mathematical um, attention to detail and, you know, see what I come up with as far as some ideas and considerations. But like I said, much of it is uh, a response to anybody that wants to claim things that really they have no business claiming. You know, if they want to say, like I said already, Man of Steel didn't do very well. Well, it had plenty of tickets sold, and it sold quite a bit more than the Superman from James Gunn in 2025. All right, so do we compare it back to Superman when Christopher Reeve did the first one? We can look at those numbers, and would I say that it's the same thing? I'm not trying to even claim it's the same thing. All right. Now wait, let me pull those numbers back up though, because that is an interesting concept there. With Superman, the movie, 128 million tickets sold, $2 billion movie. Okay, because I think I heard somebody say that Man of Steel even made more than Superman did, and I don't agree with that because again, the tickets for Man of Steel in 2013 are about 82.4 million tickets sold compared to 128 million. So a difference of 30 something. Um, 6, 40, I think maybe about 40, 46 million more tickets, which is about twice. No, 50% more. Something in that nature. And yeah, again, this over $1 billion for this, but still not quite that much. Batman v Superman, 101 million, still not the number of tickets, you know, as that. Now that was still one of those that you went to the theater to see it. There was no home video, and home video came along a little bit, just slightly later. It wasn't what it is now. It's already it's huge now. Okay, so it's not comparable. All right. But anyway, Wonder Woman again. Look at that, 91 million, um, and then Aquaman got the 127.577 million. It was just under the number of Superman tickets sold, so it should be just under the number of today's ticket prices, a little over 2 billion. So that's kind of where that lies, and I'm not saying we should compare it directly to these things necessarily. Measures of success can be different for different time frames, um, but don't build a false narrative and then try to claim that's the basis. That would be a bad thing to do. Uh, and this is just one of the starts or one of the factors in that you have to go in. Then you make your theories. And you get all these facts and really detailed concepts down, and the idea that these things are what's going on. Again, a false narrative is like saying the COVID pandemic was really the thing that shut down a certain movie. When right after that, or right before it, also movies made as much or more, uh, or quite a bit more, rather, than this movie. Uh, and yeah, that's what I'm saying. That kind of false narrative should be put away. That's why I included several movies from HBO Max day and date releases that made more money or that made close to the same amount of money because it was not very good. But whatever the case was, a better movie, the same kind of movie, supposedly better, you know, depending on who you talk to. I liked the movie. I didn't like the movie. Whatever it is, okay. Those are the things you look at after you get some hard numbers down and contemplate them in your mind, and then continue on to the opinion part of it, the subjective part of it as well, and make sure you look at objective things. You can really see some things about movies that make differences uh, that are not subjective, but they're objective. And then that objective thing sometimes affects the subjective thing. I was talking the other day about just the quality of making a darker film with more beautiful imagery in the darkness that exists, that is possible to do. Okay, or to make something even appealing to certain uh, propensities, if you will, in that same kind of category. The movie Obsession has these elements of darkness and shadow in it that for a horror minded person is going to be like really that's going to attract their attention. They're going to be like, I like this shot because of this. Whereas in a superhero movie or in a family comedy or for um, an action film, it wouldn't make much sense to have that same kind of atmosphere. Okay, so there can be differences there, but for superhero films, there's ways to do those things, and ways to form the shadows and things like that. Like I said, I talked about that in another video concerning Zack Snyder releasing the Wonder Woman picture. And we got to close this off, so make sure that it makes it onto um, a a an upload, because I think I'm running over time. But nonetheless, we'll see you again in the next video. Watch out for these things. I've got several things that are upcoming, and discussion with my son, conversations. Those things go in various directions inside the. We're talking Marvel and DC, but it will go to other movies. I may talk to him about a new release or something like that, and we'll get into whatever discussion form it takes. But anyway, that'll be all for now, and have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.